All right, we're about to break down one of the most incredible, most secretive military missions in modern history, Operation Neptune Spear. And trust me, this was so much more than just a mission. It was the final chapter in a 10-year, globe-spanning manhunt.
So, picture this. It's May 2nd, 2011. The time is just after 1 a.m. We're in the city of Abbottabad, Pakistan. And in this quiet city, something is about to happen that will absolutely rock the entire world.
Under the pitch-black cover of night, two specially modified helicopters are slicing through Pakistani airspace. Now, these are not your average choppers. Oh no, they're basically ghosts, built with stealth tech to make them nearly invisible to radar and almost totally silent as they zero in on this mysterious high-walled compound. And inside that compound, the world's most wanted man. A guy who, for all intents and purposes, just vanished after masterminding the deadliest attack on US soil. So the big question is, how on earth did a 10-year hunt for a ghost end here? Okay, let's jump right in. This is 0 hour. The choppers are making their final approach, and the guys on board are getting ready to breach the fortress of their #1 target. You can't pull off a mission like this without some serious hardware. You had two of those stealth Blackhawks carrying the main assault team. Those were the ghosts. But waiting on standby back in Afghanistan were two heavy-duty Chinooks, fully loaded with reinforcements. This was their insurance policy, just in case things went sideways.
And the team they sent? The US Navy SEALs. Look, when a mission is just too dangerous, too complicated, pretty much impossible, these are the guys who get the call. We are talking about America's most elite commandos. But, to really understand the insane stakes of this night, we've got to rewind a bit. Why was this one man so important? Well, it all goes back to a legacy of terror that literally shaped the 21st century.
See, to really get the manhunt, you have to get the history. This wasn't about just one event. This was a whole decade of terror that just kept getting worse. It started with the World Trade Center bombing back in '93. Then, the horrible US Embassy bombings and the attack on the USS Cole. Each one was a brutal prelude to the absolute horror of September 11th, 2001. Just think about that. Nearly 3,000 innocent people killed in one morning.
And who carried it out? Just 19 men.
And their weapons? 4 commercial airplanes. After that day, Osama bin Laden became public enemy #1, and then poof, he was gone.
And that's what kicked off the decade-long hunt. For years, there was nothing. No credible leads. It was this massive global search that felt like it was going absolutely nowhere. Until one tiny, crucial thread started to unravel the entire mystery.
So how'd they finally find him? Well, this was just an absolute masterclass in intelligence work. It all started with a single name, dropped by a detainee, bin Laden's most trusted courier. The CIA then spent years just trying to figure out who this guy Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti even was. Once they did, they tracked him all the way to this compound. Then, after months of surveillance, came the final brilliant move. They set up a fake vaccination program just to get a DNA sample and confirm that their ghost was actually inside.
And the compound itself was just screaming that something was off. It was a total fortress. I mean, think about it. 18-foot walls in a totally normal neighborhood. The residents burned all their own trash instead of having it collected. No phone lines, no internet connection. And here's the biggest red flag of all, a 7-foot privacy wall on the 3rd floor balcony, just high enough to hide a very tall man walking outside.
So, they've got their guy. The target is confirmed, and the mission is a go. Let's get back to the raid and break down how those final chaotic 40 minutes unfolded.
Right off the bat, things go wrong. Seriously wrong. One of the stealth Blackhawks gets caught in a weird air current and crash lands inside the compound. But incredibly, all 12 SEALs on board scramble out totally unharmed. The mission is still on.
Inside the guest house, they hit their first target, the courier, Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. And in this crazy twist of fate, the very man whose trail led the CIA to this exact spot becomes the first person killed in the raid.
The SEALs then storm the main building, clearing it floor by floor. On the first level, they run into more resistance. The courier's brother, Abrar, and his wife are killed as they open fire on the assault team.
Now, on the 2nd floor, they come up against bin Laden's son, Khalid. And this is where it gets really smart. One of the SEALs who speaks Arabic just calls out his name. When Khalid pokes his head around the corner to see who it is, they take him out.
And then, finally, on the 3rd floor, they find him. The 10-year hunt is over.
The SEAL team leader gets on the radio and speaks the 2 code words that would echo across the planet. Geronimo. Enemy killed in action.
But here's the thing, killing him was just step one. What came next was a series of really tough decisions, starting with a big one. What do you do with the body of the world's most wanted man? So they had this unique problem. Cremation was out. That's against Islamic tradition. But a land burial was also a no-go because that gravesite would instantly become a shrine for his followers. That really only left one option, a burial at sea. It was the only way to make sure there would be no physical grave to visit. But as the SEALs cleared the compound, the stuff they found, it just painted this bizarre picture of his last years. They found his personal journals, sure, but they also found a huge collection of pornography, video games like Counter-Strike, and even Disney movies like Cars. And maybe the weirdest thing of all, a massive collection of documentaries and movies all about himself. So think about this. It took 10 long years to find this ghost, but only 40 minutes to end the hunt. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? For all the things they found that night, what secrets about his network, about his final years in isolation, were buried with him forever at the bottom of the Arabian Sea?